Welcome back to Growth Catalyst Up. In our channel, we look at three things: building the skills, looking at productivity, and turbocharging your career. In today's episode, we are going to look at cricket and the lessons that we can learn from it. Cricket is not just a sport in India, it's a lot more than that. It's actually a classroom. You learn so much from cricket, the raw emotions, and the way people play, and the way we prepare and go out and play there teaches you a lot more about yourself, how to prepare for it, how to prepare for battles, and how to get ready. It's not only your skills, but it's a mental game. It's a strategy that you have, how to understand others, how to understand the tactics, how to bring all the players together. It's teamwork, it's collaboration, and more than everything else, it is a lesson in leadership. Today, we are going to walk you through 11 iconic innings, 11 iconic one-day innings where people have battered the odds. Yes, we are going to look at the batsman's side of the game today. 11 iconic innings today and the lessons that teaches us. The lessons in leadership that each of these innings that teach us. Pause, reflect after each of these innings, look at, rewind. What is the lesson that you draw from that? Let's get into the journey. Let's begin. The first one, and absolutely, I have no doubts in my mind as to what that first one is. It gave birth to belief in a nation which was devoid of belief. It made cricket what it is in India today. I believe that innings was Kapildev's 175 against Zimbabwe. What an innings! India were dead and out on the mat, 17 for 5. And in walks a person, raw energy, Haryana Hurricane, Kapil Dev. And that he defined generations of cricket in India for me. In walks and calmly rebuilds. Nothing, no sponsors, no broadcasters, no 20 crore tag of IPL behind him. Just a belief that he can, just a belief that he could rebuild. And he rebuilt. What an innings that he had. No cameras were there, nothing to record that sensational innings. But he gave us a belief. He rebuilt the nation, and it was a national emergency in all matter of speaking. And he handled that emergency beautifully. From 17 for 5, India went on to build the score to 266, and India went on to win. And that belief coursed through the Indian team, and they went on to win the finals as well. And that turned around the self belief on cricket in India. India became a cricketing nation on that day when Kapil Dev slammed that 175 not out. What an innings, and what a learning that we can take from that. As leaders, things will fall around all of us. It will fall all around us. And if we panic, then the team is lost. And we should stand tall. The leader stands tall, rebuilds. Even when the team goes through a crisis will come. And it's your duty as the leader to rebuild it, stay calm, composed, give that energy to the team, give back that belief to the team. And that's exactly what Kapil Dev did on that day. What an iconic innings. My number two pick is Glenn Maxwell. What an innings. Cometh the day, cometh the hour, cometh the man, as I say. Glenn Maxwell arrived in grand style. He had never hit a double century in one day innings before. And Australia were down and out against the Minnows of Afghanistan. 91 for 7. And one man, lone man standing, Maxwell, Glenn Maxwell, Pat Cummins, the captain, to give him company. And what an innings. But more than the innings, the conditions defined the innings. Maxwell was cramping. He was dead and out, and his body was saying no. The job was saying yes. And what a way to deliver the job when the team needed it. When your body is crying to take rest, when the body is not giving an inch in terms of timing or movement, you had no movement, no foot movement, nothing to give in terms of the body, sheer courage and the timing and the runs. What an innings. And he turned around that innings from 91 for 7, chasing an improbable score, winning the match in the company of his captain. Absolutely extraordinary story of courage, extraordinary story of luck also, but fortune favors the brave. and he went on to win the day for Australia. Now, pause a moment and reflect upon the day that your body was screaming in pain and anguish and wanted to take rest. But there were things to do. And you had already burned midnight oils for 2 consecutive days. And is the third day because something had to be done. And you are cramping, you are tired, you are fatigued, but you had to stay alert because there is a job to get done. The company needed it, your team needed it, and you had to deliver it. Have you faced those moments? I'm sure all of us have faced those moments sometime or the other in our career. Think about those moments. Think about that special moment where you had to deliver and how did you go about doing it? And that is where inspirations like Glenn Maxwell are very, very important to us. Cricket is not just a game. Cricket is not just something, a sport that you watch and come back. It's not just entertainment. It is a learning, it's a lesson in leadership. That's why it's so inspiring for so many people. Think about that moment. Think about the moment when you had to deliver in spite of your fatigue. You had to deliver and overcome all your fatigue and tiredness and the screaming body, which is asking for rest. And you beat all of that and delivered for the team. Think about the moment, pause, write down. It's going to be a great lesson in leadership. Number three in my list, Michael Bevan against West Indies, chasing 173. Australia were down and out at 38 runs on the board with 6 wickets gone. But Michael Bevan was ice when all around him was war waging and fire raging. He was cool as ice and he marshaled his resources, played with the tail enders, hit a boundary of the last ball to win the innings for Australia. Now, he was the finisher before King Kohli took that place and took the title. The finisher, staying calm, staying when everything rattling around you, staying put with calm and composure with all over your face where the people around you draw that inspiration, draw that composure from you. Pause a minute and think about it for a minute. How many times has chaos reigned all around you? How many times you have stayed calm and composed in the middle of all that chaos? How many times have you managed to pull the team out of pain? How many times have you managed to close the deal when the deal required closing? How many times have you delivered the project when the projects required delivering? That's a lesson that I will learn from Michael Berman's 78 not out against West Indies in SCG that day. Great innings simply because of the calm and composure that he brought to the innings and the way he marshaled his resources, played along with the tailenders to stay calm, chasing. During chasing, he exhibited all of this, which is not an easy one. My pick number four is Kevin O'Brien of Ireland against England in 2011 World Cup. England had a mammoth score on the board. At 111 for 5, Ireland was completely gone for the day. But one person chose to believe, one person chose to rewrite the scripts rather than ask for permission to go and bat. Kevin O'Brien. He smashed his way to fastest century of the World Cup with just in 50 balls and rewrote all the scripts and beat England blue. Think about it, pause for a minute and reflect on these innings. What does it teach you? How many times do you think that everything is lost? How many times things look so down and out that you give up? How many times that competition is all around you, killing you? But somebody gets that inspiration and beats all the odds to rescue you. Think about those moments. Think about those heroic moments when something was delivered in spite of all odds. Something was delivered. Somebody chose to believe and delivered because simply because that person chose to believe rather than give up. Innovation, belief, teamwork, all that happens because you have belief in yourself in spite of all odds. Not when things are easy, not when the going is easy, but when the going is very, very tough, everything falls all around you. But somebody, maybe you, chose to believe that things could be turned around. That's exactly what Kevin O'Brien did against England on the day. And that's the inspiration for all of us. My pick number five is Herschel Gibbs against Australia, chasing that mammoth 434 runs in 2006. One man, Herschel Gibbs, chose to believe rather than give up. Anything over 300 in one day international is a big score. Anything over 400, unheard of. And chasing that down, absolutely undreamt of. And somebody chose to believe that he can do that. He was not waiting for permission. He was not waiting for the windows to open. He was kicking the doors open. So, and he went and blasted the opposition out of the place. And that day, Herschel Gibbs gave a new definition to chasing with his 175. And what an innings. And that innings gave a gravity defying innings, gave the wings to South Africa, who chose to believe that day. Everybody chose to believe that day and beat Australia Blue. When you have 434 on the board, you know that you have won the match. And that's what Australia did exactly. But they were in for a nasty surprise because somebody chose to believe that gravity can be defied. My submission to you, take a minute, take an inspiration from this extraordinary innings and look at what is the boldest thing that you can do. What is it that you have not believed till now that you can choose to believe now? Now that you have seen this innings once again, now that you have seen and drawn inspiration from this innings once again, look at what you need to do. Write on one bold thing that you would do because you have just got greatest inspiration from these innings. My next choice is Steve Waugh for his 120, the 1999 World Cup Super 6 must-win match against South Africa. And South Africa was winning. And Steve Waugh mistimed, ball went up, but Herschel Gibbs comfortably under the ball, missed it. Steve Waugh took a deep breath and muttered something which has become iconic over a period of time. He just said, "You just dropped the World Cup, mate." And he went on to deliver. He went on to deliver every single match from then on, every single ball from then on. And he scored 120 that match, which made Australia win that day and win that World Cup as the days progressed. Think about that moment. Think about that innings. Think about yourself. What is the inspiration that you are drawing from this? Remain calm and poised when chaos reigns all around you. That's the greatest lesson that you're repeatedly drawing from these great innings. There will be chaos, there will be despair, there will be hopelessness. But if you, as a leader, give up hope, then the team is lost already. That is the greatest lesson that we can draw from this innings. My next pick is Ben Stokes for his 84 against New Zealand in the final, 2019 final. Everything was going crazy that day. Umpiring errors, super overs. But Ben Stokes survived everything. He dived, he bled, and he survived against all odds. Nothing was clear. Everything was in a gray zone. But that's what leadership is all about. When nothing is clear, you are still keeping that hope alive. When you don't know what you're doing and the team needs that doing, you still go and deliver that. And Ben Stokes that day did exactly that. Everything was chaotic that day. There were so many hilarious now, but not that day. Umpiring errors and super overs and no clarity in terms of who won, who lost. Nothing was clear. But Ben Stokes kept going in spite of all the odds. He just kept diving. He just kept delivering. And there's a great inspiration waiting for all of us from this great innings. When things are chaotic all around us, when we don't know what the hell is happening around us, how do you keep your hope alive? How do you keep delivering? How do you keep that mental toughness which says that I'm going to face the next ball, I'm going to face it calmly, I'm going to deliver whatever I need to do? That is all that great leaders do. They just stay in the moment, they just stay composed, they just survive that moment of gray which covers all around that situation and still manage to deliver. Think about the moments that you were not clear what you were doing. Think about those moments when something has to be done and there was no clear pathway to deliver that. And yet you went on to deliver, and yet somebody in your team went on to deliver, and yet you have to deliver something like this repeatedly, even in the future. Think about these moments that have happened in the past. Think about the moments which can happen in the future and draw inspiration from that innings of Ben Stokes. My next pick is Sachin Tendulkar for his 143 against Australia in that famous Desert Storm, 1998 Coca-Cola Cup. I remember watching that match. I remember we have lost it. India had to qualify. India had to make those runs. Need not win the match, but make those runs, minimum runs in those minimum number of overs just to qualify for the finals. And this man was the only thing which stood between Australia and India qualifying that day. And what a delivery, what a performance that day from Sachin Tendulkar, the god of cricket. Desert storm happened. It was chaos all around. And I remember the commentary where desert storm was happening. Here is a desert storm. Here is sandstorm happening all over the place. And one man standing, that is Sachin Tendulkar. He is not getting blown away by this sandstorm. He is actually going to blow away Australia, and he did just that. And he was calm and composed. He seized the moment and he delivered when it mattered the most. And India went on to win the finals again against Australia 1998 that day. And all that mattered was his self belief in figuring out that he can deliver when it mattered the most. Pause a moment, draw inspiration from this one of the greatest innings Sachin has ever played. And what an innings and pure poetry in motion. Think about that innings, think about what the lessons it holds for leadership. When things are not clear, when you had to win, when you had to deliver, how do you deliver that? And nobody gave any chance to India. Nobody thought India would qualify. Nobody thought India would be able to make those runs and get past that mark to get into the final. The one man did, and that one man made history, and that one man becomes god of cricket. Do you have the belief when things are not going your way? Do you have the belief that you can rebuild the innings for your company? Do you believe that that project which looks impossible can be delivered? Think about it, pause for a minute, draw the inspiration from this great innings. What does it mean for you in your life? What does it mean for you in your work? And how can you utilize this inspiration in delivering even better things for you in your role? My next pick is Sanat Jayasuriya for his 82 against England in 1996 World Cup. Till that time, typically the opening batsmen used to play cautiously. There were exceptions like Krish Srikanth of India and a couple of other players. But typical play was that you play out the initial conditions and then build the innings, and then the last 5, 10 overs was all that mattered in terms of going bang bang. Comes this man, Sanat Jayasuriya, takes a leaf out of Krish Srikanth's book and changes the game. The first 10 innings, he has destroyed England. 44 balls, 82 runs in and out. Done. Closed. And in a World Cup, extraordinary innings. And that defined the way openers approach the game ever since. What a game. And that holds great lessons for leadership. Leadership is not just playing the game the way it is defined. Leadership is all about going and redefining the game, changing the game completely. So I would request you to pause a minute and think about that innings. Think about the inspiration that you can draw from that innings. What is this inspiration? My inspiration is whenever I see the game, whenever I see rules, when I think of Sanjay Surya, think of Tendulkar's innings against New Zealand, which again redefined the way India played the opening overs. And think about what is it that I can change in this game? What is it that, how is the game is played? What are the rules? And what are the things that I can change in this rule book so that the game is completely favorable to me? Think about it. It will redefine the way you look at leadership. I expect Yuvraj Singh, 69 against Australia in 2011 quarterfinals. Yuvraj Singh was battling a separate battle which the world did not even know about. He was battling cancer. Nobody knew. But he was battling that separately, and he never let that battle interfere the battle on the crease. What an innings, what a knock, and what a style, what a way to destroy the opposition. He was battling cancer, and in spite of battling your body ravaged and the mind ravaged, come to the crease, destroy the opposition so that India can march to the next level. Think about it. The inspiration is very, very simple for me. Whatever the body may be telling you, whatever the battle that you may be having in your private life, when it comes to your duty, your role, your job, you go and keep all of these battles aside, whether it is mental battles or the private battles or your life or your body, you keep them all aside and still go and deliver on that day. That's the inspiration that I draw. And that inspiration is what leaders also need. Last one that I'm picking up, the 11th one on my list is MS Dhoni's 91 in that final against Sri Lanka. Couple of wickets has gone, and in walks not Yuvraj Singh. MS Dhoni, the captain, he was taking the pressure on himself. He was taking the responsibility on himself. He was taking the call to deliver. And if he had failed, he would have been big time criticized, hugely criticized. He was ready for that. He was, as usual, ice, completely composed and fully in control. But the call that he made to come ahead of Yuvraj Singh, keeping Yuvraj Singh as a reserve for later, and that innings of full of poise and calm and composure and that enormous pressure in front of a million screaming fans in the final of a World Cup. Fantastic. A lot of lessons from this one innings. It's not about the game situation. It's about taking the pressure on oneself. It's not just delivering that game under the screaming fans, noise, drowning the entire stadium down. It's all about taking the responsibility and taking the call of taking the ownership, delivering when you take the ownership. That's what leadership is all about. And MS Dhoni's knock is not just batsmanship for me. It's all about captainship for me. It's about leadership for me. He took the call, came ahead, and that moment defined in terms of what his mindset was. He was ready to go. He was ready to battle it out. He was ready to take the pressure on himself rather than putting his teammates onto it. He was reserving other people in case one more wicket fell. And he came in, batted along with Gautam Gambhir and batted along with Yuvraj Singh to deliver the match for India that day. What an innings! But that innings has lots of lessons in terms of leadership, how to take the call, how to take the pressure, how to ensure that you go out there and perform in front of a million fans shouting to win and screaming your name. And the pressure could not have been any bigger than that. How to perform in the biggest stages of life, how to perform when the pressure is insane. All those lessons are coming from this one innings. And that's why I choose this innings also in the list of 11 innings that I chose. There have been many, many innings. Viv Richards' innings in 1979 World Cup. Viv Richards, another innings in terms of 183 when all the chips were down and West Indies were completely down and out. He was having holding at the end, one end, and he was holding both ends together, pun completely intended. And there have been several other innings. Inzamam's innings against New Zealand in the World Cup, that 1992 World Cup that Pakistan won. I can remember, I can cite so many innings where one can draw inspiration from, but these 11 innings are very, very special for me because they have significant leadership lessons to my mind that we can all learn and thrive and apply. So think about all of these innings. It's not about entertainment alone. It's not about watching and enjoying those moments alone. That's important. But to my mind, the more important thing is drawing lessons of leadership, drawing lessons of how to stay calm and composed, drawing lessons in terms of taking ownership, drawing lessons in terms of soaking the pressure and delivering under enormous pressure. Think about all of these innings. I've given material in terms of all of these lessons, the essence of these lessons derived and as a workbook, downloadable. You can take a look at it and think and pause as to what are the lessons that you drew from these innings. That reflection will go a long way in terms of cementing your leadership skills, taking you further in your orbit and the quest for that leadership positions. Wishing you all the very best. We will see you in our next episode.